Mic turned on. It's called to order the Sparks City Council meeting for January 22nd with a roll call.
Mayor Lawson.
Here.
Council members Abbott.
Here.
Vanderwell. Here. Anderson.
Here.
Bybee.
Here.
Dare.
Here.
City Attorney Duncan.
Here.
Acting City Manager Crawford.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Okay, we have an invocation by Jordan. I didn't get your last name. McDermott. Jordan McDermott, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Glad to be here, and we could just join each other for a moment of prayer. Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you. We want to thank you for this free nation in which we live in. And we're thankful that we can come together, Lord, in a moment where we have freedom and we have peace. And we want to thank you for the great city of Sparks today. And most of all, Lord, we want to just ask for your blessing to be upon this moment. Lord, we know without you, nothing will prosper. So we just invite you into this moment. And we ask today, Father, as we meet and we gather together, Lord, that the conversations and that the meeting, the deliberations will be meaningful, they will be productive, and that the things are decided upon, that they will be right in your sight. So, Father, we ask for this, and we ask for wisdom, Lord, upon all of the leaders here, Lord. Your word says that if any be lacks wisdom, let him ask of God who gives willingly and without reproach, and it will be given him. So, Lord, we ask, believing that we will receive your wisdom today for all the decisions that need to be made. Lord, we ask for your blessing to be upon this community. We ask for your peace to reign all throughout this area, Lord, and that there will be just a unity to exist, Lord, that we can not only do well, but that we can thrive in every area, and that this community can be healthy. So we ask this all in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Anderson, will you lead us in the pledge?
I will. Please follow me in the pledge of allegiance. I can say it. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We'll move on to public comment. And let's start with Tia Flores, followed by Chris Garvey. Come on down. Hopefully they'll turn on a microphone for you. There you go. The green light means it's on.
Means we're good to go?
Yes, ma'am. Give us your name for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Tia Flores. And I'm here representing Sierra Arts Foundation. We are a partner with the City of Sparks, and I'm just here to congratulate you guys and thank you for your support and to talk about the Depot Gallery and Bookstore on Victorian Avenue. That's 831 Victorian Avenue. We went into partnership with the City of Sparks a little over 5 years ago with a generous grant from the from the National Endowment for the Arts. And through that, we were able to convert the Depot into a gallery. And I'd like to share with you today that now it has evolved into a bookstore that that is home to Northern Nevada artists, poets, and illustrators. And it's the only one of its kind in Nevada right now, and it's right here in Sparks, downtown Sparks. So I just wanted to share appreciation and also let you know that at the gallery, we work with the university as well as TMCC to show student art shows. And then we also work with the Draculich Foundation, who works with veterans, and we'll be having 2 art shows a year there of work by veterans on that, as well as the bookstore. And because of our partnership with the Draculich Foundation, we're actually able to extend our hours at the gallery and bookstore, which will help the businesses downtown, especially for lunch and dinner down there. So I just wanted to express gratitude and thank you guys, and personal invitation to come on by. And just one more thing, we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of our brouhaha, which is in partnership with the Nugget, and this is Sierra Arts' largest fundraiser of the year. So if you like beer and you like entertainment and you like art, please come and join us on Friday, February the 2nd. We hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris Garvey.
I could get the overhead, please. Thank you, Ms. Torres. Okay, yeah, that's okay. Great, thank you. Chris Garvey for the record. And I don't know if that's gonna focus. There we go. Perfect. I'm here today to urge the council, going forward, to have the transparency that the taxpayers are just craving. Last council meeting, I was here with some concerns about the renewal of $90,000 apiece contracts for both Barrett and SB Consulting. And at that point, it was a little concerning that there was a relationship between the mayor and SBS. And I want to give a shout out to Pecan Press for providing the kind of transparency that taxpayers really want. We know that Sparks still can be a small town, but when it comes to giving out taxpayer dollars, it really is incumbent upon you to divulge or disclose any kind of personal or business relationship with those that you're giving large sums of money to. And so I asked that. I also wanted to say, I came to the State of the City address, and it is a lovely presentation. The video is very nice. But I noticed that there were some things missing from the presentation. This is in Old Sparks, Ward 1, your ward, Councilman Abbott. And as you will notice, it is filled with graffiti. This happened not last night, but the night before. And these small businesses are constantly battling this. There is a problem in Old Sparks. We are losing our businesses. They're closing left and right down on Victorian. And in the older part of Sparks, where new businesses are trying to start up, this is like a plague on them. No one wants to come and buy anything out of a store that has gang signs on it that are the size of a truck. And in fact, this poor man who owns a business, both of his delivery trucks were sprayed, both sides. And our citizens are the ones that have to take care of this. The city doesn't come and clean it up. And that, we ask you to clean it up by taking care of the gang problem. Thank you.
Okay. I don't have any more speaking cards. Anyone in the public wishing to speak at this time? Not, we'll bring it back to the dais then. I'm looking for an approval of the agenda. Ms. Vanderwell,
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Ms. Bybee,
I'll second that motion.
got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Approval of the minutes. I'm looking for approval of the minutes. Mr. Abbott,
I move to approve the minutes of the Sparks City Council meeting for January 8th, 2024.
Mr. Dare.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, presentations, employee longevity recognition. So I'm gonna start with Tanya. Tanya was one of the first people I met when I got elected in 2010. So Tanya, come on down here so I can embarrass you a little bit. And Fred, you know what? Fred, you might as well come on down too. Come on.
We can be embarrassed together.
I'm gonna be an equal opportunity offender. So, we just put together like some of the things that happened in 1988. And when did you start, Tanya? Was it 88?
Part-time 1985,
So, full-time since 88?
89.
Wow. So here's some trivia for you. George Bush was the president. George Bush the first. The USSR was still a thing. Taylor Swift was not. The Lions still haven't won a Super Bowl. Donald Abbott wasn't even born yet. And this building that we were sitting in was only 19 years old. The population of Sparks in 1988 was roughly 53,000 people. We're now at 113,000. You guys have been through a lot to see a lot, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all your service and your dedication to the city everything you've done all these years. It's amazing. You guys are literally a walking piece of history, so thank you very much.
You helped build this building.
Which side do you want to be on? Put the bad wing on this side. So Tanya was one of the first people I met when I came to the city of Sparks. And she was the Wednesday afternoon program. What is that? You do without women bowling. If you ever want to just have fun and get your heart lifted, go watch them bowl. Yep. Go ahead, Miss Bybee.
So Fred, don't leave yet. Fred, don't leave.
Hey,
Whip,
Fred,
whip, don't leave. Sorry, you can't get
Fred.
out of here that quick.
a little bit more.
So I saw on the plaque, it's 35 years for Fred, and then Tanya's been since 89 full-time. What positions and what departments? Because a lot of people here might not know where you worked for the city of Sparks, so that would be, I'm sorry to bring you up.
Yes, please.
Building and Safety Department.
Okay,
Where
35
I
years,
work. I'm a deputy building official.
awesome.
It's been a really rewarding job. It's making sure all the buildings are constructed to minimum codes and making sure we got a stout city that's gonna last a long time. So it's been a pleasure.
We appreciate that. We hope you enjoy your retirement. And then Tanya?
My entire career has been with Parks and Rec.
So Parks and Rec the whole time.
So I started off with working at the front desk and then teaching kids sports. And then just moved into different departments, doing everything I could possibly learn. So it's love of my life.
So the fun department, right, Nancy? The fun department. Thank you guys both. Enjoy your retirement.
Yep, Paul.
Hey, Tanya, I
Don't
just
run
want to
away
say,
yet.
yeah. I can't say as I ever did anything with Fred, but I just want to say, right up until the end, I mean, there at the turkey trot registration, getting to work with you for a couple hours, your enthusiasm, your concern for the kids, it was unfailing. And I just want to say, right up to the end, I am so proud of you, and thank you for the work you've done for the city.
Okay.
I'm not gonna let you out of here, Fred, without saying something too. Obviously, Fred, you got love too, Tanya. I love you too. I'm just saying, so, before I got elected, Fred, my old employer, his house was right next to a parcel of land that Fred owns. So I've known Fred since I think I was 15 and a half. So it's been fun to know him from back
3
then.
years now.
A few years. And then into now, and I've been on quite a few ride-alongs and sit-alongs where you want to call them, and Fred got to take me out one time on a building inspection ride-along. We had to go through the deco, and it was a great time to, if you ever spend any time with Fred, he knows. He actually even got to, I think, inspect my house when I remodeled my bathroom, which is kind of full circle. He loves what he does, 100%. And I know a while back we were looking at, getting another position so Fred could fill in and keep Fred here. We appreciate all your expertise that you've had for over the years, Fred. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now I think you can go, Fred. Thank you. All right, 7.2, Board and Commission vacancy announcements. Sierra Arts and Culture Advisory Committee. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. We have extended the opening. There's one vacancy on the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee to fill a partial term ending November 30th of 2024. This vacancy is for a performing arts representative. Members of the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee must be a Washoe County resident, possess a full understanding of being an arts advocate, and have 5 years or more experience as an arts advocate. Applications will be accepted until January 26, 2024 at 5 p.m. Persons interested in serving on this committee should complete a community service application online at the city's website, www.cityofsparks.us/get involved. Complete the volunteer application and hit submit. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, now moving on to consent items. Anyone wishing to pull a consent item? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve consent items 8.1 through 8.4 as submitted.
Mr. Anderson.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.1, consideration, discussion, and possible direction to file a petition for judicial review of the December 28, 2023 order of the Nevada Department of Administration Appeals Officers regarding benefit penalties under NRS 617.457, parentheses 16, and appeal number 2303510-STE. It's a lot of words.
It is. Thank you. My name's Lisa Wiltshire Alstead. I'm an attorney at McDonald Carano, and I serve as the city's outside counsel in workers' compensation matters. And I am requesting approval to file a petition for judicial review. It would be an appeal from appeal number 2303510-STE. And it involves a benefit penalty of $37,800. And we're seeking to join this appeal with another one that's pending before the Second Judicial District Court so that we can get complete resolution of the matter. Thank you.
Okay, questions from the council? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Dare.
Yes, I move to direct council to file a petition for judicial review of the December 28, 2023 order of the Nevada Department of Administration Appeals Officer regarding benefit penalties under NRS 617.457-16 in appeal number 2303510-STE.
Mr. Anderson.
I'll second the motion.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you,
Thank you
Lisa.
so much.
Okay. 9.2, consideration, discussion of possible acceptance of a grant from the Neil J. Redfield Foundation in the amount of $17,700 to support Leisure Without Limits program for 2024. Shauna.
Almost. Let's see here.
Almost 35 years for you too?
Yeah, just almost. What do I do to make this go? Thank you, Julie. Sorry. So we'll go to view. Thank you. And then full screen. Thank you. And then you just want it to go back. Thank you. That one? Yep. Okay, sorry. Good afternoon, Council and Mayor Lawson. Shauna Nelson, Recreation Manager. Today I'm here requesting that you accept grant funding from the Nell J. Redfield Foundation in the amount of $17,700 to support our Leisure Without Limits programs for the year 2024. Leisure Without Limits programs include annual events and weekly enrichment programs that we do for people with disabilities. We're very fortunate that we have been receiving this funding from the Nell J. Redfield Foundation for since 2009. So we like to recognize them and thank them very much for their continued support. I have some photos that you already peeked at because this is not my forte of the events or the classes from 2023. So first we have, this is the Mark Wellman's Adventure Day at the Marina, and it's an Abilities Expo as well. This takes place each June, and it's an opportunity for people to try kayaking, cycling, and rock climbing with the help of experienced athletes and adaptive equipment. This year, we're scheduled for June 2nd. Next, these are from our annual holiday dances. So we host a Christmas and a Halloween dance every year, and they are held at the Recreation Gym at 98 Richards Way. This is our weekly art class that takes place on Thursday afternoons. That's at the Larry D. Johnson Community Center. It's very popular. And actually, Tia, who spoke earlier, she started this class and taught it for 20 years. So that was a good day for her to see. It was nice to see her today. Next, we have a couple of our bocce teams receiving their awards at our annual competition that takes place at the end of the season. This was at the Renaissance in downtown Reno, and I think it was in August. And then finally, this is a photo from our bowling tournament team. Bowling takes place every Wednesday afternoon at Coconut Bowl. But once a year, we have a tournament, and this was our team this year. It takes place in November, and it's at the National Bowling Stadium. With that, I'd like to recommend that you accept the grant from the Nell J. Redfield Foundation, the amount of $17,700 to support Leisure Without Limits in 2024, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the council? Mr. Dare?
Is there anything coming up in the near future that we can come out and be a part of? I know that these guys sometimes go to the bowling. I've seen that, and I'd like to come out. Can you give us any of the dates that are coming up?
So art class and bowling are weekly.
Okay.
So Wednesday afternoons, 2:45 to 4 at Coconut Bowl is bowling.
Okay.
And at the Larry D. Johnson Community Center at 3 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, so 3 to 4.
Oh, awesome job, and thank you for continuing to find ways to make this happen. Good job.
Thank you.
You guys have the fun job.
We do.
You get
We're
to
very
deal with the
lucky.
happiest people.
Look at their faces. Isn't it fun to look at their
Pretty awesome.
faces?
Any other comments from the council? Okay, looking for a motion then. Mr. Anderson?
I move to accept the grant from Nell J. Redfield Foundation in the amount of $17,700 to support the Leisure Without Limits program for 2024.
Mr. Abbott?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Shauna.
Thank you.
9.3, consideration, discussion, and possible acceptance of a grant and approval of the grant agreement AC 6014 from the Office of Traffic Safety that will provide 3 SOT, can you help me out with that one? SOTOXA.
Sotoxa.
What you said. Oral fluid testing devices and testing cartridges with a total value of $15,600.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and members of council. For the record, I'm Sergeant Sean Congdon, the Traffic Section Sergeant. Before you today is a request to approve acceptance of a State of Nevada Department of Public Safety Office of Traffic Safety grant for 3 oral fluid testing devices and cartridges with a value of $15,600. Past statistics for substance impaired crashes have accounted for 57.5% of all crashes in Nevada and constitute 58% of all traffic fatalities as reported by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Among these impaired driving cases, polysubstance impairments were more than twice as common as alcohol-only or marijuana-only impairments. The roadside oral fluid testing is a screening test, not an evidentiary test, similar to the preliminary breath test. The purpose of the oral fluid test is to assist the law enforcement officer in determining whether to administer the evidentiary breath test or the evidentiary blood test. Like the preliminary breath test, the roadside oral fluid test is not to be used to establish probable cause for the arrest. The purpose of the oral testing is limited to assisting with test decisions, not arrest decisions. Staff recommends acceptance, and I am available for questions.
All right, questions from the council? Ms. Bybee?
So just to clarify, because I know when marijuana became legalized here, both medical and then recreational, part of the controversy or questions a lot of us had was the ability to test for impairment. It wasn't like alcohol was pretty easy with your breathalyzer, with your roadside testing. So does this oral fluid testing just helps the officer decide breathalyzer or your other testing, and does anything really, or blood, has anything come about that is better at monitoring what impairment would be from marijuana use?
So the officer still has to go through the full field sobriety test. And based off of those tests that are administered, they will then make a determination whether or not to arrest or not. This device is just another tool that they would administer after making their decision to arrest the subject or not to arrest the subject. So obviously if they weren't gonna arrest them, that you wouldn't administer them, but if they determined based off the field sobriety tests that there was probable cause to believe that they were under the influence of or impaired by either alcohol or some other substance, at that point, they would use this tool as another tool, and it'd be able to administer it right on the roadside, which would be able to assist them whether they offer them a breath test or if drugs are involved, then it's a blood test. Does that answer your question?
So the blood test does register impairment from marijuana or not?
If they were to take a blood test?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
You could screen for alcohol as well as
okay.
marijuana. or any
And the
other-
breathalyzer is for alcohol?
I'm sorry, say that.
The breathalyzer is an alcohol.
Right, a
test
breathalyzer
alcohol
merely
levels.
gives us alcohol. This device would be able to, I think it's 6 different drugs it would be able to pick out to
Okay.
determine if that person had used it within a half hour up to 48 hours.
Okay, perfect, thank you, I appreciate that clarification.
Okay, any other questions from the council? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Dare.
I move to accept a grant and approve the grant agreement AC 6014 with the Office of Traffic Safety for the 3 Sotoxa oral fluid testing devices and testing cartridges with a total value of $15,600. Thank
Mr.
you.
Abbott.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
9.4, consideration, discussion, and possible acceptance of a grant AC 6020 from the Office of Criminal Justice Assistance, OCJA, 2023 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant, or JAG grant, in the amount of $58,850.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and members of council. For the record, I'm Lieutenant John Patton with your police department. Before you today is a request to approve acceptance of an Office of Criminal Justice Assistance, also known as OCJA, 2023 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant in the amount of $58,850. There's no required matching funds for this grant. The grant funds will be utilized for a service subscription with Flock Safety for 15 Flock stationary license plate readers, commonly referred to as LPRs. This will also give the Sparks Police Department access to a network of Flock LPR systems across several states. Through this project, the Sparks Police Department will be able to bolster overall crime prevention and detection, the swift recovery of stolen vehicles, enhance suspect identification, solve and thwart retail theft, which is huge right now, and ultimately safeguard our community. The grant funding will cover expenses related to the Flock operating system and LPRs. These cameras will substantially enhance the police department's plate scanning capabilities. They will not only benefit the Sparks Police Department, but will also provide support for neighboring agencies in their efforts to recover stolen vehicles and solve various violent and nonviolent crimes. Staff recommends acceptance, and I'm available for any questions.
All right, questions from the council? Ms. Vanderwell?
Hi. Thank you. Do any of the other agencies here locally use this?
As of right now, no.
Okay, so we'd be the first agency?
We would be the first.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Anderson?
As I understand it, we have cameras on a few of the vehicles right now that do this type of technology, don't they?
Yeah, so all of our entire fleet has Axon Fleet 3 cameras that are capable of reading license plates, as well as Washoe County and Reno. They also have those capabilities as well. And Axon is partners with Flock Safety, and they are, with Axon and Flock, they house all the plate scans that we run through our vehicles with the stationary plate scans with Flock. And so it's going to, increase our ability to get scans. It's gonna be like 10 times what we're getting right now.
And so, again, these are stationary as opposed to what's in the vehicles now?
Correct.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the council? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell?
I move to accept the grant BC-6020 from the Office of Criminal Justice Assistance, OCJA 2023 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant, JAG, in the amount of $58,850.
Ms. Bybee?
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Lieutenant. You up for the next one too?
Thank you. No.
Okay. How about you have some more money to give us?
Not that I know of.
You could stick around as long as you want if you're giving away money. 9.5, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an interlocal agreement AC 6016 with the Regional Transportation Commission, or RTC, to reimburse the city of Sparks for actual costs estimated to be a total of $200,000 for wetland monitoring required by the 404 permit needed for work associated with the RTC Sparks Boulevard Improvement Project North Phase. Amber?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council. Amber Sosa, Transportation Manager. As introduced, this is an interlocal agreement between the RTC and the City of Sparks to reimburse the City of Sparks for the costs associated with wetland monitoring that will be necessary and associated with RTC's upcoming project to widen Sparks Boulevard. The reimbursement agreement for you is for actual costs. As of right now, those costs are estimated at $200,000. As you know, and I hope you're excited for, the RTC and Sparks have been working on a project to add capacity to Sparks Boulevard. The north phase of this project will go from approximately Lincoln Way to Bering. It will widen the corridor from 4 lanes to 6 lanes. It'll also include pedestrian and multimodal infrastructure, as well as various areas of barriers and sound walls. These improvements do require some unavoidable permanent impacts to the North Turkey Drain, which is considered a waterway of the U.S. Because of this, the Army Corps of Engineers and the Clean Water Act require a permit. You'll also hear it called a 404 permit, and that's specifically because in the Clean Water Act, it's under Section 404. This permit requires mitigation, monitoring, and management of the impacts to the wetlands, not only during construction, but after construction. The city will be the applicant for that permit, and throughout construction, the RTC and their contractor will monitor the wetlands. They will design and construct Midland mitigation sites and meet the requirements of that permit. Once construction is complete, the requirements of that permit will fall to the applicant, which will be the City of Sparks. This map in red is showing you Sparks Boulevard in the northbound direction. This is the limits of the entire Sparks Boulevard project. Now we're gonna look at these 2 sites that are located just north of Prater Way are the intended mitigation sites. However, monitoring will be necessary for the entire length of the drain. Currently in the permit, these activities are scheduled for a 5-year period, and this includes after construction, wetland monitoring, corrective adaptive management activities, annual reporting, and permit closeout. City staff is supportive and confident in taking on these responsibilities because similar work was just completed through our own project in realigning the North Truckee Drain. With this interlocal agreement, the RTC will reimburse the city of Sparks for actual costs related to this work and through the permits. Should costs exceed the estimated amount, the city and the RTC would work together in good faith to amend the limits of this permit. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, questions from the council? Mr. Anderson?
Amber, what all is involved in the monitoring process? What does that entail?
And to my knowledge, it's definitely site visits to see the condition of the wetlands, how they are before the project, how they're being protected and mitigated through construction, as well as establishment of those mitigation areas. So as we add wetlands, as we do replantings, making sure that those are taking, that we're providing the wetlands in the area that was disturbed by the project. So different plant samplings, water samplings, and such.
Does it actually include like wildlife count of, how many ducks are along the canal or anything like that? How detailed does it get?
I don't have that exactly. I'm not exactly the expert. We have done this working with our consultants in the past, and that would be more our approach to how we would do this. We'd bring a consultant on board who specializes in that kind of monitoring, the annual reporting, and what they'd like to see, and then we would manage those contracts. So there are experts out there. Unfortunately, I am not one of those, but we do have our partners that we work with.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Ms. Spivey?
I think the question was answered, but basically, the city of Sparks would be responsible for the monitoring, and we would work with an expert in that field to make sure it was monitored for the 5-year period,
Yes. we would
during
have-
and after.
Yes, we would hire a consultant, we would manage the contract. They would help us with whatever that annual reporting, whatever the Army Corps of Engineers wanted to see, would help us file those reports, and we would manage that project that way.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Not, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson?
I move to approve interlocal agreement AC 6016 with the Regional Transportation Commission, RTC, to reimburse the city of Sparks for actual costs estimated at a total of $200,000 for wetland monitoring required by the 404 permit needed to for work associated with the RTC's Sparks Boulevard Improvement Project North Phase.
Ms. Vanderwell?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Amber. 9.6, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a grant agreement AC 6017 between the City of Sparks and the Nevada Housing Division for the purpose of providing Home Means Nevada Initiative funds in the amount not to exceed $250,000 for the purchase of vacant parcel approximately .207 acres located at 2026 I Street, Sparks, Nevada, 89431, and assigned Washoe County Assessor's Parcel Number 031-184-08 from Roberto Jimenez Romero. That's end of sentence. For a possible action.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and members of council. For the record, my name is Amy Jones, Housing Specialist. And Mayor, if I may, I would like to request to present items 9.6 and 9.7 together.
Please do.
As you will recall, the city was awarded $1 million in Home Means Nevada Initiative funding for the purchase of vacant land in the city of Sparks. As required by this funding, the city must obligate the funds by December 31st of 2024. Staff advertised the city's desire to purchase vacant land in April of 2023, as well as sent out letters to owners of vacant parcels. And staff was contacted by the owner of 2026 I Street, stating he was interested in selling his property to the city of Sparks. The parcel is located at 2026 I Street, just near Sullivan Lane. It's .207 acres in size. Staff estimates 12 to 14 units could be built on this site.
And it is located near grocery, dining, bus stops, medical facilities, parks, and schools. The Nevada Housing Division is administering the funds for the state of Nevada. The city is required to enter into a grant agreement with the Nevada Housing Division in order to receive these funds. The grant agreement does state that the city must use the land for affordable housing. And the HM&I funding, Home Means Nevada Initiative funds, requires that the city cannot pay more than the appraised value. The parcel was appraised, it did appraise for $250,000. And with that, based on that value, Nevada Housing Division would award the city $250,000. The grant agreement requires the deed to be restricted through a declaration of restrictive covenants running with the land, which requires the units must serve households earning less than 60% of the area median income, and the property must maintain a minimum of a 30-year affordability period. However, staff is recommending a 50-year affordability period. Upon execution of the grant agreement, the Nevada Housing Division will release the funds to the city to finalize the purchase of the parcel. The parcel will transfer as fee simple title to the city. The purchase price is $250,000. Closing costs will be split between the city and the seller. And the purchase and sale agreement will expire 40 days from the execution of the document. It may take up to 30 days to get the funding from the Nevada Housing Division. After the sale is finalized, staff will advertise a request for proposal for affordable housing projects, and then that final project will be selected by the Sparks City Council. And that concludes my presentation, and I am happy to answer any questions. The recommended motion for the grant agreement with the Nevada Housing Division for the Home Means Nevada Initiative funding is on the screen, and then the next slide is the recommended motion of the purchase and sale agreement.
Okay, Mr. Dare.
Yes, thank you for bringing this to us. It's very exciting to see us have options for those who are wanting to live in Sparks and those who live here. Does this kind of deplete any finances we have, or can we continue to look for potential land, and do we have more option to go find more? Is there more money to go find if we can?
At this point, we do have $750,000 remaining of those Home Means Nevada Initiative
Okay, because of the million. Okay.
So we still have that funding to look and purchase additional land.
So this is different than the other money we talked about last time over here, of the other piece of land that we're buying.
It's the same funding source.
It's all the same funding source?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Correct,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Mr. Rabbit.
Great project. I know that a lot of land's been sitting empty for, I think, ever, actually. So what is the timing for the next, once we send it out, I guess, what is our hopeful date to have a project in front of us?
That's a great question. So the RFP, we are going to advertise that on February 1st. So we would have that 30-day period to accept those projects, and then it would come back before council for that approval. Again, just kind of running through the timeline. Once council approves it, then we would have a development agreement that would come before council for that final approval, and then the project started.
Summer of this year, maybe, or so?
Maybe towards the end of this year.
Okay, cool.
Don't quote me on that.
No, you're
but
fine. It's in the works. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anyone else? Mr. Anderson.
So you mentioned 12 to 14 units is what it's looking like, and that's for the 2 units or the 2 parcels combined?
This one is just one parcel. It's a 2.07 acres in size. So for that parcel, the 2026 I Street is 12 to 14 units is estimated.
Okay, and that's what I just want to make sure we weren't talking about 12 to 14 for both parcels. So,
No,
okay,
this is just
awesome,
the same.
great, thank you.
Yes.
And anyone else? I have one question, Amy. Is there any reason we can't do this in perpetuity? Make it deed restricted in perpetuity? And here's the reason why. Is we saw this happen in Reno, where they had the 30-year, and guess when the 30 years happened? Right during the pandemic. So we saw a lot of people that created a lot of problems for our community that didn't have a place to live. Not being a prognosticator, knowing what's gonna happen here in 50 years, I would certainly rather have this in perpetuity than just 50 years even.
I can look into that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, to me, that's the way we solve the problem long-term, is we continue to add these units on as we go along that are stay in subsidized housing in perpetuity.
Great.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? If not, I'm looking for a motion on 9.6.
Do you want me to add, oh, sorry.
What?
Can I add what you just said onto that motion, or
Yep,
do we?
yep.
Look at your attorney. I'm looking at Wes.
I mean, a lot of excited people.
Mayor Jim Rundle, city planner. I would have a concern at this point, Councilmember Abbott, of putting that deed restriction of exceeding the parameters of the HMNI program. It is something that we could look into, as Amy indicated, in terms of at our RFP stage. But I wouldn't want to, it may not be the appropriate timing with the request to spend the HMNI funds.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mayor.
You know where we're going with this.
Yes.
And I know I'm a broken record on that subject. Okay, Mr. Abbott.
I'll read this motion. I move to approval a grant agreement AC-6017 between the City of Sparks and the Nevada Housing Division for the purpose of providing Homelands Nevada Initiative funds in the amount not to exceed $250,000 for the purchase of a vacant parcel approximately 207 acres located at 2026 I Street, Sparks, Nevada, 89431, and assigned Washoe County Assessor's Parcel Number 031-184-08 from Roberto Jimenez Romero.
Mr. Dare.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, 9.7, consideration, discussion, of possible approval of a sale and purchase agreement, AC 6018, providing for the purchase by the City of Sparks of a vacant parcel approximately .207 acres located at 2026 I Street, Sparks, Nevada, 89431, and assigned Washoe County Assessor's Parcel Number 031-184-08 from Roberto Jimenez Romero, not to exceed the appraised value of $250,000 utilizing the State of Nevada Home Means Nevada Initiative funds. Whew. Thank you. We've had that presentation. Do we have any other questions? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Abbott?
I move to approve the sale and purchase agreement AC-6018, providing for the purchase by the City of Sparks of a vacant parcel approximately .207 acres located at 2026 I Street, Sparks, Nevada, 89431, and assigned Washoe County Assessor's Parcel Number 031-184-08 from Roberto Jimenez Romero, not to exceed the appraised value of $250,000, utilizing the State of Nevada Home Means Nevada Initiative HMNI funds.
Ms. Vanderwell?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? See none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, 9.8, Madam Clerk, first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the first reading of Bill Number 2819, an amendment to Sparks Municipal Code, Section 10.48.030, parking of oversized vehicles, Section 10.48.250, human habitation of vehicles on public property, and Section 10.48.260, obstructive uses of public sidewalks, right-of-way, and public streets are prohibited, which are to become effective upon passage by the Sparks City Council. A public hearing will be held and Bill 2819 will be acted upon at the regular meeting of the Sparks City Council on Monday, February 12th, 2024 at 2 p.m. in the Sparks City Council Legislative Building. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move on to 10.1, public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a memorandum of understanding amending the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Sparks and the Operating Engineers Local Union Number 3 Skilled Workforce, AC 5863, with no direct financial impact. Allison.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and members of the City Council. For the record, I'm Allison McCormick, your Assistant City Manager. I'm before you today seeking approval of a Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, with Operating Engineers Local Number 3, also referred to as OE3, regarding the dispatch center. As City Council is aware, the city has struggled to recruit, train, and retain dispatchers to staff our dispatch center. This has resulted in extensive overtime, and the city has struggled to find solutions to that problem. This MOU is intended to improve this situation and would amend the current collective bargaining agreement, or CBA, in two main ways. First, this MOU revises how overtime is assigned in the dispatch center, with the hope that that will provide dispatchers with adequate time away from work to get some rest from their stressful jobs. Second, the MOU adds the position of call taker to Appendix A of the collective bargaining agreement, where all of the positions covered by OE3 and their pay is addressed. That is intended to take some of the workload off existing dispatchers, reducing stress overall in the dispatch center, and also to create a pathway for new employees who are interested in dispatch to enter the profession with as much time to get that training and experience as they need to be successful. Neither of these changes has any direct cost associated with them. I would like to thank OE3 and staff in the dispatch center for thinking outside the box on how to improve circumstances here. Staff recommends approval of this MOU. A public hearing is required, and I am happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the council? Okay, Ms. Bybee.
Thank you, Allison. Obviously, we've struggled with dispatchers and keeping that staffed, and really their quality of work and the importance of their work. You know, I don't know, and I didn't initially really think about how important dispatch is. We've got first responders, fire, police answering calls, but really how do they get there and what is the information that they're provided? And it really is such a critical piece of our first responders is dispatch. And so really I like the fact that it is outside the box, that we're doing something with the call takers. It also is not quite so overwhelming that I would think you get hired and trained and then you walk in to a situation that really is kind of like a fire hose, to use another analogy, that really there's so much that this makes sense, because it would give people that opportunity and then to ease into it and lower some stress, help with the workload, and move into the upper levels, and they feel more comfortable and competent at that time. So I appreciate OE3 and your work with them in adding that and really looking at overtime, because any of our first responders becomes a safety issue if you are fatigued and overworked, and those are the departments we absolutely can't have that happen, because public safety is too important. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember.
No questions. I just want to say a shout out as well to our dispatchers. I have told everyone that I know that sitting in for one shift in dispatch, I realized no way, no how is that something I'd want to do. The stress that they're under, the constant pace that they're call after call, text after text, I mean, all the issues coming through at a time. And I just really appreciate OE3 for helping us with this, as well as all the staff that were involved. Great job. This is a great opportunity to hopefully secure our future for the dispatchers over there, and their mental well-being. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, this is a public hearing. We'll open it up to the public. Anyone in the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll bring it, oh, come on down. I just need you to fill out a card for me afterwards.
Absolutely.
And give us your name for the record, please.
Ralph Handel with Operating Engineers Local 3. This MOU was a joint effort between the employees, management, and HR. I want to let you know that the relationship between your labor unions and HR and your management is improving greatly. Something that I like to do is work with them. We're not adversaries. We want the best for everybody. And I would hope that you would pass this amendment or MOU. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else in the public wishing to speak? All right, we'll bring it back to the dais, and I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve the Memorandum of Understanding amending the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Sparks and Operating Engineers Local Union Number 3, Skilled Workforce, AC-5863, with no direct financial impact.
Mr. Anderson,
I'll second the motion.
we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, 10.2, public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of memorandum of understanding, AC 6015, between the City of Sparks and Operating Engineers Local Union Number 3, Skilled Workforce, allowing the hiring of part-time or temporary personnel in the Emergency Communications Dispatch Center until December 31st, 2026, with no direct financial impact. Allison.
Thank you, Mayor Lawson and City Council. Again, Allison McCormick for the record. This item is another MOU with OE3 regarding dispatch, but unlike the previous item, this agreement would not amend the CBA with OE3. Rather, this is a side agreement. This agreement would allow the city to hire part-time and temporary personnel for the dispatch center for a period ending December 31 of 2026. This would help reduce the need for overtime in the dispatch center. The city is aware of some former dispatch employees who aren't able to work on a full-time basis for various reasons in their own personal lives, but would be willing to work for us on a part-time basis in the dispatch center in order to help us relieve some of that overtime strain. As I mentioned, the agreement automatically terminates on December 31st of 2026. However, either party may terminate the agreement early by giving 90 days written notice to the other party. Again, there are no direct costs from this agreement. A public hearing is required for this one as well, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Dare.
Why, if this is something that's helpful, why are we terminating in 2026?
City Council could always approve another agreement if OE3 was willing to extend it. However, we are hoping that these overtime issues won't still be going on by that time.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Mr. Abbott.
Just a shout out again to OE3 and the staff for getting creative on this one. This is, I think, a good solution to this problem that we're having, so just thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, there's no more comments. This is a public hearing. Open it up to the public. Anyone in the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais, and I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Dare.
Sure. I move to approve the memorandum of understanding AC 6015 between the City of Sparks and Operating Engineers Local Union Number 3, Skilled Workforce, allowing the hiring of part-time or temporary personnel in the Emergency Communications Dispatch Center until December 31st, 2026, with no direct financial impact.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, 10.3, public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a memorandum of understanding amending the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Sparks and Operating Engineers Local Union Number 3, Skilled Workforce Supervisors, AC 5870, provided for special assignment pay for crew supervisors assigned to the wastewater operations function with a cost increase of $52,475 in fiscal year '24. Allison.
Thank you again, Mayor Lawson and City Council. I remain Allison McCormick, your Assistant City Manager. I am now seeking your approval of another MOU with OE3, but this time with the Supervisors Bargaining Unit. Operations crew supervisors at Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility, or TUMWRF, are required to have extensive licenses, which are critical to TUMWRF's permit to discharge treated effluent to the Truckee River. They are the responsible person in charge of TUMWRF outside of normal administrative business hours, meaning that it's their licenses on the line if there's a crisis at the plant. Recognizing those facts, the current collective bargaining agreement between the city and OE3 supervisors includes an agreement to reopen negotiations regarding pay for operations crew supervisors at the plant if, after reevaluating that position under the city's classification and compensation system, commonly referred to as HAY, if that position is not leveled one or more HAY levels higher than it currently is. Recently, the position was reevaluated under the HAY system, and the HAY level did not increase, triggering that reopener clause. Therefore, the city and OE3 supervisors met last fall to negotiate further regarding pay for the folks in that position, and the negotiating teams reached an agreement to amend the CBA by adding special assignment pay for this position of $400 per pay period, retroactive to July 1 of 2023, so this full fiscal year and beyond. This MOU, if approved, would increase costs by $52,475 in fiscal year 2024. I would again like to thank OE3 supervisors, business representative Ralph Handel, HR staff, and staff at the plant for their efforts in finding solutions that make sense for both sides in this area. Again, a public hearing is required for this item, and I am happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the council? Seeing none, this is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais where I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve the memorandum of understanding amending the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Sparks and Operating Engineers Local Union Number 3, Skilled Workforce Supervisors, AC-5870, providing for special assignment pay for crew supervisors assigned to the wastewater operations function with a cost increase of $52,475 in FY '24.
Mr. Anderson.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks, Allison. All right, we have no planning and zoning public hearings. We're on to publics from the comments, publics from the comment. Or public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody signed in?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
All right, we'll bring it back to the dais with announcements from the mayor, city council, city manager. Mr. Acting City Manager, nothing?
No, sir.
Mr. Dare?
I just want to say, good job today. It was great having everybody here, and it's an honor to be a part of that team. Fantastic day today.
And Andrea's still here. It's like you worked here again. Anyone else? Mr. Abbott?
I definitely want to thank yourself and Councilman Darren Bybee for attending my alma mater last week to do a seat dedication for Mayor Gino Martini. We put a little sticker down for him next to his old buddy John Mayer. So definitely was an emotional day for a few of us. I appreciate you guys being there. And just we get to memorize or have a memorial for Gino. We probably have in many places, but one at his alma mater as well, where he was very thankful to be at. So thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, with that, then we're on to number 13, lucky 13. We're adjourned.